Welcome to another edition of Around the Turnbuckle. My name's the Big Albowski. His name right there is Professor Keith. And we are joined, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, by the 10-time WCW Tag Team Champion, fellow podcaster host, Stevie Ray. What's up, my man?
Oh, man, it's going, man. It's going. Just trying to make things happen. What's up with you guys?
We are doing exactly the same thing. I've been watching a lot of your podcasts. I started following you. When I talked to you on the phone, I started following all your stuff, checking all your stuff you got going. You got a lot going on, man.
Yeah, I do.
It's impressive, though. I mean, you got so many shows going on, and you're great on all of them.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man. It's each one is different from the other one, so that's what's challenging about it, man. That's what's challenging about it.
Excellent, man. We're going to talk about all this stuff and where people can follow you. I do have a streamer at the bottom. You guys want to follow Stevie Ray. He is on multi things. He is on 953 Jams on Saturdays, 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern, the Stevie Ray Experience. He's on Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray. You can find that on YouTube. You can find him on Facebook at YouTube. You can find him with Stevie Ray on Facebook and on Twitter. You search him, you find his shows. For the 953 Jams thing, I think it's good that they download the TuneIn app, right?
Yeah.
Download that, and you can get him on there. We got comments flying in already. Chrissy Richards, family. How you guys doing? Alex, good to see you. Harlem Heat in the building. Prince Shango, yo. Hey, guys, we got them flying in already. So my first question to you, sir, tonight is the last time most wrestling fans saw you on TV or was the Hall of Fame speech. Can you tell us all how that night went and how it meant to you?
It was what it was, man. I was tired as hell because I had been working since I got up there. You know, I didn't get a chance to do a lot other than just do different things for Vince and that whole thing. And man, it was rehearsals and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful or anything like that, because I'm very grateful for being inducted into the Hall of Fame and everything, man. But damn, it was. You have to rehearse to walk out on the stage, man. You have to rehearse. You know what I'm saying? It was just like one thing after another, brother. It was very tired, and I was just tired. And I had been up there since that Wednesday. They had a whole big skit written out for us to do that a lot of people don't know about.
Right.
They had this whole big skit that was just like some Amos and Andy bullshit, man. And I'm like, brother, you got me. Dog, whatever, brother. Just give me my ring and let me get the hell out of here, dog. I ain't trying to be features or anything like that. It's just the fact that people always ask me, man, why didn't you go to WWE? Because I knew I wouldn't have been there that long. I mean, I ain't built for a lot of that stuff that they do with African Americans, brother. I'm not built for it. That ain't me. Anybody that knows me knows that. And I'm not a prostitute either.
Right.
So I've never wanted to do nothing just for money. My dignity is a little bit more important to me. And anybody that can't understand that, then hey, kiss my ass. I ain't the dude, bro. And like I say, I'm not trying to sound bitter. It's just the fact that that's just the way I was raised, man.
Yeah. One quick follow-up to that. During your speech, you mentioned Sherry Martel as a big part of your career, you and Booker. What was it like working with Sherry Martel, and what did she bring to Harlem Heat?
Oh, man, she brought everything, man. She brought, by the fact that we could work with Sherry because she's a worker. Mm-hmm. She's a worker. She's in the business, and she gets it. She got it all. Everything that we came up with, that we wanted her to be, to implement within the character, man, she got it down to a T. And like I said, by her being a worker, you don't have to teach anybody anything. She's a worker. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days, the female wrestlers were not like the female wrestlers of today.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm taking nothing away from the female wrestlers today because they work really, really hard, man. Mm-hmm. But back in the Sherry days, man, they trained with the guys because it wasn't a lot of female wrestlers in the business back then. So you went to a wrestling school, you might be the only girl in there.
Right.
I remember back when I went to train at a wrestling school, there was one girl in the whole deal. So it ain't like we had other girls, females or women that she could train with. Who she trained with? Us.
Right. With the guys.
So they learned from a whole different perspective back in the Sherry days,
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was actually going to be one of my questions, is what you thought Sherry would think of women's wrestling now, because I always felt like Sherry kind of got a little bit of the shaft because when she came in, like you said, there weren't a lot of female wrestlers for her to work with. So she almost by default got pushed into more of a valet or a manager role because the bigger companies weren't putting the focus on women's wrestling like they do now. Right. So, I mean, I think you kind of touched on that maybe she wouldn't be as enthusiastic about where it's gone. Like a lot of people would think, oh, she'd love this so much. And you're saying, no, maybe not so much. She wouldn't.
You know what? She probably feels the same way, because generationally, everybody looks at their generation in a certain way, and they look at new generations in another way. So I think it's just a natural progression for someone to look at what's going on today in a totally different, because men do the same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's a people thing. Right. I don't think it's a wrestling thing. I think it's an entertainment thing.
Yeah.
So when you look at it in that aspect, you get actors from the 60s and 70s, and they look at how actors are treated today and how movies are made today. What are they going to say? You look at football players, back in the day, I was just looking at some stuff last night of some of the old games from when I was a kid. Man, they're hard to watch.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, that was normal.
They were brutal.
But when you look at a game today, everything's so wide open. It was no such thing as 5 wide.
Right.
Nobody in the backfield.
Nope.
There was no such thing as that. It was no such. Only one team was doing the shotgun, and that was the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
So
that's why they called it the shotgun. That's how it got its name.
Right. So when you look at that in those days, those guys are like, well, man, we did this and we did that. And guys look at it today and go, hey, man, them guys getting paid all that money just to pass block? Just to pass block? That's all I would have to do today to be a multi-millionaire.
Now, we got a little off topic, but since you mentioned football, I know for a fact you're an avid Steelers fan.
Yeah.
So the $1 million question is, who do you got, Steelers or Bills?
Man, the Bills gonna wish they never left Buffalo. Well, instead they're gonna be in Buffalo. They're gonna wish this game was in Pittsburgh. That's what's gonna happen to them. The snow will melt. The snow will melt in Buffalo. They'll be wishing O.J. Simpson could still play football when the Steelers get there.
I hit the right button, Keith.
You did.
All right, so I got to give a major shout out here to this guy right here, Stevie Ray, because this guy is like your number one fan that I know. And his name is James Brickhouse. And the cool thing about James Brickhouse is he's in the business. He was a referee. He's now a manager on the independent circuit. And he told me when he found out that you were coming on, he said, man, I can't miss that. I got to see my man because Harlem Heat in general was his biggest influence growing up.
Okay.
Also, the cool thing about James Brickhouse is he was our first professional wrestler guest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So big shout out to Brickhouse. Do your thing, man. Yeah. Big shout out to Brickhouse.
Well, hey, James, I'm glad you're a big follower, man. I'm glad, we've always liked that kind of support, man. And guys like that, guys like that are always a pleasure to talk to when I meet them at conventions and stuff like that. Very respectable and very knowledgeable. Love people like that, man.
To that end, what advice would you give? Because I have a lot of we've made a lot of local professional wrestler friends on the show here, and they're watching live right now. Okay. What advice would you give the guys that just starting out in the first couple of years?
Hey, man, be patient, work hard, be patient, because the thing is, you never know who's watching you. You never know who's watching you. Try to keep your attitude together because this business is not fair. And that's what happened to a lot of people. A lot of people think they're special in this business and they start, going to independent shows and getting a rap because of your attitude, so on and so forth, man. And next thing you know, don't nobody want to mess with you. Keep a good attitude, work hard, and just see where the chips fall, man. That's basically all you can do because this game ain't fair. It remembers your attitude way more than it remembers you jumping off the top of the building.
It's funny because we started this as just a bunch of guys sitting around talking about pro wrestling and talking about the current product. But what it's morphed into is they're contacting me to come on and tell their stories so that their fans can know who they are, what they're about, and where they're going, which I love. We love to do. We love to do that.
That's good.
Yeah, we do that. Brickhouse comes on. Thank you, guys. Brickhouse, we love you, man. Keep doing your thing, he says. All right, Keith, your next question for Mr. Stevie Ray.
Yes, I mean, everybody remembers you guys working with Sherry, and I mean, you're right. I remember you guys pre-Sherry. I think you were on the first WCW Saturday night show I tuned into, and I think that was 94, just before Hogan came in. And you guys were great then, and then you got Sherry, and you were on another level. What about when you were working with Colonel Robert Parker, Ron Ford? How was that?
Actually, we didn't work with Ron. We worked with Sid when we first came in.
Yeah.
I think Robert might have been doing some stuff with him. I can't remember exactly, but we actually never worked with Rob Parker.
Right.
Well, didn't they do that angle where Sherry was like in love with him? And
that was kind of like indirectly working with him.
Right.
Okay. So it was more about their thing than your thing.
Yeah, they kind of incorporated that in, but hey, it was cool, man. Rob's a good guy. He was managing another team at that time, and then they started having their fair thing, and then he started coming out with us. We thought it was pretty entertaining, man. We thought it was pretty entertaining,
I got a fan asking, Alex Castro, big fan of this show. What's your thoughts on Sting and showing up in AEW?
You know what, bro? I haven't had a chance. I've been seeing a lot of it on the social media outlets. I didn't get a chance to watch it that night, and if I did, I watched the early part of the show and then watched the part where he came in. But you know what, man? I think AEW is doing whatever they can do right now because from what I heard, some of their ratings were very, very high in the last few weeks or something of that nature.
Oh, they've been kicking WWE NXT's ass every Wednesday night for like a year.
Okay.
But the last couple of weeks have been really good. Yeah,
that's what I heard. So with all that being said, man, I think Sting, because I know him personally, is trying to put himself in a position to help young people.
Yeah.
And help up and coming, him, come on, man. The guy, you don't want to really work and take bumps and stuff like that.
And I don't know if he can anymore.
You know what I'm saying? He probably can still do matches, but on a nightly basis, man, come on. But I think he can do stuff on television, and I think he can really help the talent because he had so much to give. And from what I could gather, that's actually what he wanted to do with Vince in a lot of ways, but they never could find a spot for him.
Right.
So I think when a person has that kind of passion for this business, man, you're going to follow that passion wherever it takes you, because like I said, this business ain't fair. There ain't a lot of loyalty in it. So at the end of the day, hey, let the chips fall where they may.
So roughly about 4 or 5 years ago, you started podcasting. What turned you on into podcasting? What was the idea behind getting into it?
Well, actually, I was doing radio.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing radio because, in essence, that's what I wanted to go into radio, man. When I got out of school.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked in clubs, I DJ'd in clubs and all that kind of stuff. But then, your life takes different turns and this, that, and the other. And I never got a chance to really do it. And then when I got a chance to do it, I used to go on a local radio show here in town
mm-hmm.
and talk about sports. So the people at that station were like, we got to give you a show because every time you come on, all the phones light up.
Right.
Because I would go into my shtick.
Yeah.
When we bring up a sports subject, I couldn't talk about it like, people on television talk about stuff. I have to talk about it the way Stevie Ray would talk about it. And Stevie Ray don't care. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a mixture of myself and the Stevie Ray character at the same time. And, I would talk about Floyd Mayweather, being a coward, and, who can't beat Flat. Okay, let me give you an example.
Yeah,
I'll give you an example right now. It's hard for me to do, man. It's hard for me to get into character, man. It's kind of,
all right. Do I have to piss you off or?
No, you don't have to. No, I'm gonna just let you know how it sounded to people.
Right.
And I'll finish the story once I do it. It's just hard to get a character because you guys are making me laugh.
I'm sorry.
But, that's okay, man.
I'm funny looking.
But no. Like let's say the guy that hosting the show, it's a fight coming up or something like that, and I'll start talking about Floyd Mayweather, and I'm like, okay, look at Floyd Mayweather. What does he do? If this guy is not fighting a flat-footed Hispanic fighter, who's he going to beat? What I would like for him to do is go back to where he come from, the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Tommy Hearnses of the world, the Marvin Haglers of the world, fight an African-American fighter, and then we'll see exactly how good you really are. Stuff like that.
Wow.
And people would just... people would just...
I remember.
That was the Stevie Ray he remembers.
Yeah.
But people would just go crazy listening to that. So they would call in, and I would be like, who have you ever beat? What are you talking about, sucker? Don't call up to the radio station if you don't have your facts together. Well, Stevie Ray has his facts together, and let me run them down to you right now. And people loved it. You know what I'm saying? So the owner of the radio station was like, man, we got to get you a show. So I would do a political show, and people didn't know that I knew my political stuff. Then I would do the relationship show, and people didn't know. Now I'm just winging this stuff. I don't even know how this stuff got in my head. I'm talking about it, and it just started coming out. So after doing that, my older brother, who's a political science major, actually, and a school valedictorian, he called me up one day, and he never just calls me out of the blue. He was like, man, I've been listening to you on the radio station, brother. He said, you need to pursue that because you're very good at it. He said, I'm not just pulling your leg here. He said, I know you did the thing on wrestling and this, that, and the other. But he said, brother, I didn't really know how sharp you were when it comes to so many different things. He said, you need to pursue it. So I started to pursue it, and that's how the whole thing stopped. And then so a couple other guys came to me about doing podcasts. I was doing radio and podcasting all at the same time. So that's all led to where we are right now. Yeah.
I got Prince Shango here, another fellow professional wrestler. Who has been your favorite guest so far?
My favorite guest in the radio business has been Larry Holmes.
Oh, the Easton Assassin.
Yeah.
Local hero.
Yeah, that in the podcast world, my favorite guest probably has been. Ooh, that's a good one, man. Man, I've had so many good ones.
Sean goes good at asking good questions.
That's a real good one, man.
He's a big fan of yours as well.
He's a huge fan.
Mm-hmm. We had him and Urban Legend on 2 weeks ago, and they cited you as an influence. They said growing up with you and Book and seeing Harlem Heat, seeing you guys pursue wrestling helped give them the ability to say, well, if they can do it and they can chase this dream, I can chase this dream too.
Man, I love to hear things like that from people, man, because I've heard it and I get it through social media a lot and things of that nature. A lot of times, man, back before I continue, a lot of the as far as the guests go, brother, I've had so many I don't know what to tell them on that. But in radio, Larry Holmes, in podcasting, it's too many to say. But when I hear things like that, man, for a long time, I would tell people this. I didn't know I was having an influence on people for years. Because I've always been the kind of person, I don't bring my job home with me. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in the wrestling business, because I worked around the entertainment business before I got into the wrestling business. Me and Ahmed Johnson, I know you guys remember him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
me and Ahmed used to have our own security company together and bodyguard service. So we were around different entertainers all the time, So for a few years doing that and being around entertainers and stuff like that and seeing how they were, not that it was something bad, but man, that lifestyle can be very, very, destructive.
Yeah.
If you will. So once things started to take off for me for professional wrestling, I never wanted the professional wrestling lifestyle to overwhelm me. So I never brought my job home with me. So when I come home, I want to be around my friends. I don't want to talk about wrestling. I don't, so on and so forth. And my friends knew that. So when I was wrestling, I go to the arena, go get in the ring. You're around wrestlers. You're around all your peers and stuff like that. And people that you're in the business with. But then when it was over, brother, I'm like straight up don't want. And I didn't realize that this business, which is still the entertainment business, you are influencing people. You are influencing young people. You are influencing people from your community. You know what I'm saying? Just people in general.
Yes.
And it took me years to figure that. I was like, wow, people. And my buddies used to always have to tell me, this is my close friends. Bro, you don't realize how many people watching you every week. And they would see me get pissed off when somebody walk up to me and want to talk to me about wrestling.
Right.
And then I ain't gonna say really pissed off, but like I tell them, look, brother, call the 1-800-1900 hotline.
Right.
I'm not the guy.
Some money.
Huh?
Give Gene Ogerwin some money. I heard he had a big piece of that hotline back in the day. That's why he would plug it every 5 minutes.
And my buddies had to really you know what I'm saying? Tell me, bro, you got to realize. And then I was like, wow, man, I didn't really know. So then I kind of opened up. And I used to go pick my daughter up when she was like in kindergarten, man. Maybe first grade in kindergarten. I used to go pick her up from the school that she went to. And the teacher would let me pick her up early, because of what I did for a living. Mm-hmm. And one day I got there late. And my daughter, when I didn't pick her up, she'd get on the after school bus to go to daycare. Then you pick them up from daycare. Or her mother would pick her up when she got off from work. So I got there late. One kid, this is elementary school. I guess it's kindergarten through 5th, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
One kid recognized me. I ain't even thinking about this now. And some kid goes, Stevie Ray. Oh my God, Stevie Ray. And I'm like, who is that sucker? What? Stevie Ray, where is he? You know what I'm saying? I kind of forgot. Oh, that's me. You know. So these kids start going crazy, and you know, I'm in this school, mobbing me and stuff like that. That's Stevie Ray, blah blah blah. And then the teachers, well, they don't know who I am. Okay, the teachers they didn't know who I was. They started telling the kids, "Get away from that man! Get away from that man!" And it took all these teachers and they were trying to explain to the teachers that's Stevie Ray. You know what I'm saying? Well, they don't know who Stevie Ray is. You know what I'm saying? They don't watch wrestling like kids do.
Right.
And they finally got the kids away from me. I found out my daughter had caught the after school bus, and the teacher was like, "We're sorry, sir. They think you're somebody. They think you're somebody." I'm like, "Oh man, it's okay. I understand." You know what I'm saying? And I walked off and we got in my car and left. And then I got to thinking, wow, man, you got to change. You got to change, and now you have to start actually relishing what you're doing for other people. So I changed the way I looked at wrestling, even though I still didn't do the lifestyle. I was open with people when it influenced people or made people happy. You know what I'm saying? As an entertainer, that's what you do. You take people out of their everyday lives and give them something.
Yes.
You know, it's like me watching the Steelers, but I couldn't put it in that perspective. But after that deal at my daughter's school, and this was a mob. I mean, a straight up mob. I was like, wow, you got to change your ways. So with all that being said, when you're influencing people like that, man, that's when it really kind of changed my way of looking at life. It kind of like changed my life as to how I looked at life, if that makes sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think
it does. And I'm glad you're able to relish that, because I mean, for me, people I grew up with and stuff like that, you know, we all knew who Harlem Heat was. When you guys turned babyface, we were all so happy. We were like, we get to cheer for them openly now. We don't have to pretend we hate them anymore.
I cheer for the heels. I always have. And I was pissed off beyond belief when Harlem Heat went face. I wanted them to stay beating people up and go moving on to the next guy.
Well, I'm going to tell you who I cheer for. Benjamin Franklin.
All right. Speaking of Harlem Heat, I got another Harlem Heat question here. Harlem Heat is one of the greatest tag teams of all times, right, Keith?
Oh, no doubt.
But I think what set them apart from a lot of teams that are mentioned in that same discussion is not only could they work real good in the ring, but man, they could talk some smack with the best of them, right? There are some teams that are mentioned in that conversation: Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, blah blah blah, Demolition, Road Warriors. Road Warriors that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, Harlem Heat though had it all. All right. So could you talk about having the total package?
Well, the thing was, what a lot of people, and especially in professional wrestling, some of the people are just not open-minded enough to look at an African-American tag team. What they see is African-Americans. What they don't, you know, people are comfortable around their surroundings. So if you go through the lineage of different African-American gimmicks throughout the years, they all kind of are similar. Because with all due respect, that is just how white people that are running the professional wrestling world look at black people.
Right.
Now, this is today's edification. But the way me and my brother, when we were looking at stuff, we didn't look at the black wrestlers to try to groom ourselves. Our favorite teams were teams like the Midnight Express.
Right.
Our favorite teams was like the Fantastics, you know, things of that nature. We wanted to be, well, we're already black. Okay, that's kind of evident, right? Okay. But what we wanted to bring was what you're the first person that's ever said this on anything, any conversation, any show I've ever been on, any conversation I ever said, that's, hey, that you could take everything within the tag team business and put it all into one package. So that's what we wanted to be. Right. We wanted to be the team that could work with anybody and make anybody look good, but stay strong at the same time. Even when we lost matches, we stayed strong.
Yeah, you guys
Even
did.
when we worked with teams that were smaller than us, we made them look good. Anybody can do the big man thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The press things. And that's why me and my brother collectively come together, and we never worked the same.
Right.
We never did the same thing. That was the team. Even though we brothers look alike, we talk stuff, this, that, and the other. But he is the athlete. I am the Shaquille O'Neal. He is the Kobe Bryant. See what I'm saying?
Well,
he's the Kobe Bryant. I'm the Shaquille O'Neal. So that way we're not trying to do what other teams have done.
Right.
That is the difference. You don't see it, if you're not in the business, but you do see it. At the same thing. So with all that being said, we wanted to be known that people that can get in the ring work with anybody. Even though with the big and menacing and stuff like that, we wanted to work with it. So I remember the night they put us in with Sting and Macho Man, and they tried to make us fail. No, dog. The best match they ever had together.
Right.
The best match they ever had together. And we tore the house down. I mean, tore the house down. And after that, man, guys are looking at you like, hey, okay. Because in the wrestling business, you got to earn other people's respect. You got to earn other wrestlers' respect. And when you earn their respect, they open up to you. But that's how we were trained. Scott Casey told us all of these things that we lived by. We lived by how Scott Casey taught us. And that's why I never understood selfish people in this business.
Right.
Because I wasn't trained like that. I was trained to be unselfish. It'd be easy for us to go out there and just try to impose our will. But how did the match look?
Right.
Might have looked good to us, might look good to a few other people. But if it didn't look good to everybody, what did we do?
Right. My man Prince Shango chimes in. Me and my older brother used to pretend to be you and Booker when we were kids.
Man, I done heard that so many times. Shango, I done heard
Harlem Heat, Kenneth Ferguson, Harlem Heat brought the real. We loved it.
Hey, I appreciate that, Kenneth.
Alex Castro called you the muscle.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. It's like it's like two gangsters. There's always one gangster that's walks in first, and then the big one walks in after. It's like, okay, well, I don't know how this is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to stand it right. So, and that was kind of like in a lot of ways what we were trying to portray. So, but we wanted to get in there and be able to make whoever we was in the ring with. Even when we used to do our get-over matches, this is no lie, people would come up to us and go, hey, man, why did y'all give those guys a little something? Because that's the way we was trained.
Right.
And I respect the business.
If you and Booker could get together for a reunion, one more match, what team would you want you guys to face?
I really could care less about getting together for another match and stuff like that. But I appreciate the question, though. But as far as I'm concerned, man, Harlem Heat is dead.
Yeah.
We did our last match at the Hall of Fame last year.
Yeah.
That was the last time. I really could care less about wrestling, tag teaming, and all that kind of stuff. But if the money was right.
That was my next question.
There it is.
But if the money was right, though, you know what I'm saying? We're just doing something for the hell of it. We did a 25-year anniversary thing a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that was the last time we tagged together.
Right.
And if the money was right, who knows? But, man, hey, I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. And I appreciate all the, everybody remembering what we did. That means we left a good residual, man. And that's what really makes me happy, man. And, people that enjoyed what we did, because right now I tell people, man, I'm enjoying my best life. I'm doing what I like to do. And man, it's very, very pleasing to be able to do what this is the new chapter in my life. And so it's hard for me I'm not a yesterday guy. I'm not a revisionist history guy. Unless people bring stuff up like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm really not a real revisionist history guy until people bring up stuff. People bring up stuff, and then my mind, because my mind is in 50,000 different places, man.
So talk about now. Like, so what do you talk about? I mean, with 95.3 Jams, that's mostly about sports, right?
Well, yeah, it's about sports. I'll tell a few stories. We just really started that. Now I'll be having guests coming on. I'll be having local guests coming into the studio, stuff like that. Kind of doing what you guys are doing right now and chopping it up with them and doing some stick and stuff like that. And 95.3 Jams do a lot of stuff in the community, which I really relish and things like that. So, like I said, I'm living my best life, man, helping young people, giving back to others, raising money. I'm putting together a campaign right now to raise some money for a friend of mine who has cancer.
That's awesome.
And, that he and I go back, close to 30 years, man. And maybe 30 years, at least 29. And you know, he's suffering right now, man. So I'm gonna start a campaign while I take my old NWO boots that I only wore a few times.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna auction them off. And I'm going to start a bidding thing, probably online. You know what I'm saying? And for anybody that wants to donate also, because, man, he's in a hell of a fight. And, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, is my calling to me.
So let everybody know where they can follow you right now.
Oh, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Real Stevie Ray on Instagram, Facebook, Stevie Ray Athlete, Twitter. You can follow me on all that. And you can go to, 953.com.
953jams.com.
Yeah, 953jams.com. You can go to that. You know, Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray is now I'm broadcasting on YouTube. I'm just checking it out right now to see how everything goes. But eventually, we're going to be going live with everything attached to it. Right now, we're just testing it out. Right. But you can also go to Twitch, go to Stevie Ray TV, and you can watch me on Twitch every night, Monday through Thursday, sometimes Monday through Wednesday. It all depends on how good I feel that week. Okay, but you can also go to the Russo brand, and you know I do another podcast called Black and White with Vince Russo.
With Vince Russo, yes.
Yes, that just happened to be the #1 show on this brand now.
Wow.
So,
what does that say? When do you do that? How often?
We do that once a week. So it drops every Thursday. It drops every Wednesday night or every Thursday. We tape it every Thursday from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, sometimes 4:30. Depends on different things that we're talking about. But at least 1 hour shows. But very compelling. And we talk about some of the things that's going on in the world now. Some politics, some conspiracy theories.
Sure.
So on and so forth. You know, just it's an educational show, more for him than me because you know
so listen, man, I'm following you on all your social media, and it seems like you're on every damn night. Like you are. Like you're live every night.
Yeah, but yeah, I do. I go live every night, and what we done, I'm redoing my Patreon page right now that we're going to we're redoing, and it will launch January the 1st.
Oh.
So I'm redoing the Patreon page. I got some new producers that's helping me out with a lot of stuff to put everything in perspective because, you know, it was kind of killing me and killing, you know, I just don't have the time to do it all. So I had to reach out for help for someone to help me with this, and some of the ideas they came up with is really going to put things be a little bit more professional now. So that's getting ready. The Patreon page will start in January the 1st, and not Facebook, but the YouTube. I think it might officially start next week. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'll know this weekend. That's when we'll start doing things in a little different fashion. So I'm very, very excited about it, man. I got some good guests coming up, man. I had JBL this past week.
I saw that. JBL. Yep.
Yeah, I had Ricky Santana this past week. You know, those were my first two as far as the YouTube thing goes. And next week, I got a couple of humdingers. I can't tell you about them right now, but I got a couple of
Man, I want it exclusive.
I know.
Well, I would give it to you, but
no, it's all right. It's all right.
I'm on somebody else's platform, so
it's cool.
Yeah, hey, we get it.
My son is chiming in with this. He's bringing this back up. He said, I believe a better way to word the question would have been, is there a current team that wrestles now that would make a great dream match against Harlem Heat?
Prime Harlem Heat. So when you guys were
Harlem Heat in their prime. That was my son. I had to throw that.
I tell you who I would, but they're not a tag team anymore.
What's that?
Sheamus and the Swiss Superman.
Cesaro.
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, those two. I'm big fans of theirs.
So am I.
Sheamus said I met him. Sheamus, he came up to me when we was in the elevator. He's like, Stevie, I met you in Ireland. I'm like,
really?
When
was I in Ireland?
He said, in Ireland? He said, I came in a club in Ireland. And I was like, man, I hope I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember this stuff, man. And he's like, no, man, you were real cool. And man, you talked to me and stuff like that. And I never forgot it, man. I just want to tell you that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then talking to Ryback one day, and he said, man, you might not remember this, but you came in the gym that I worked in Vegas. And I'm like, yeah, I used to go to this Gold's Gym in Vegas. And he said, man, you know what? I came up to you and I asked you, I can't remember when he said, man, you sat down and talked to me for about 30 minutes, man. And I always remembered that, man. And you were so cool to me. And I was like, okay, cool, man. And I'll tell you, I don't remember any of this stuff. But I've had people come up to me and tell me that.
I'm afraid to ask you, like, do you have any really good road stories? Because a lot of guys do, possibly PG rated.
Well, no, I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to road stories, I can't remember them unless somebody triggers them in my head.
I love that better.
People ask me that all the time, and that's why I like having professional wrestlers on the show. Because like when I was talking with Ricky the other night, he started talking about stuff and he started triggering stuff in my head. And I'm like, something he said, boom, just triggered something in my head. And then we would talk about it and laugh about it. Right. But when somebody asks me stuff about stuff on the road, man, I'm like, I was telling Ricky, I used to be around Rick Rude, and that dude could remember every date, pound, times. God rest his soul, man. But I was like, how does he remember this stuff, man? It's like when you're a kid and your grandmother is putting you to bed and, hey, grandmama, can you tell us a story? And she start telling you the story and it's real in your head. Man, I can't do that unless we're talking and it triggers something.
Right.
Other than that, brother, I'm the worst storyteller in the world unless I trigger something.
Got it.
I swear to God.
I got Prince Shango chiming in. What's it like working with Russo outside the ring as far as the podcast goes?
Horrible. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Me and Vince has always had a real good rapport. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in WCW, even with his partner Ed Farrar, and I kind of pride myself on being a artistic person, and I would go to him with different ideas and stuff like that, and he always relished them. Him and Ed. I remember I came up with an idea one day that I took to Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty and I were really, really cool. I'm watching television one night, and the idea that I came up with was playing out right in front of my eyes. I'm like, wow, man, wait a minute, that was my gimmick. I wrote that because I also used to write for the WCW magazine.
Right. Did not know that.
Yeah, and so I was always an artistic person when it comes to ideas and things like that. A lot of people didn't know it. Like, you have to be somewhere for a while before you can start to implement your different things that go through your head and stuff like that. So. Yeah. But when Russo came in, I could come in, I could like the angle that we did where, you know, I took the Harlem Heat name from my brother and all that. I wrote all of that. You know, where, you know, he was stripped of anything. He was stripped of anything that had to do with the Harlem Heat brand, you know.
Right.
I wrote that because I knew they were getting ready, wanted to give my brother a push. So this would initiate it.
Right.
Right.
Well, I didn't tell them that though, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, okay. So Vince knew, you know what I'm saying? He knew, but don't tell anyone else because I already know this. So different things like that. And that's the first time I've ever talked about it on the show was right now.
Awesome.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So
I still pop for that Leave It to Beaver theme music on the paper. I don't care what anybody says. That was gold.
You got him going, Keith.
that was funny, man. It was funny. I even came up with that.
It's a good idea because I say it all the time when I talk about. I've never booked. I've watched a lot of wrestling, and I read stories. I've read fiction since I was a kid. I'm always the guy with his nose in the book, and I always say to people, like, your hero doesn't matter unless your villain really tears him down. Right. And you had the advantage of, I'm his older brother. We all know what our story is. We work together. Everybody knows, you know, I was more than an older brother. I was like a father figure to him. And now here I am. I'm taking everything away from him. I'm taking everything that makes him Booker T, and I'm taking it away from him. And now you want to see it. You want to see him just come back and kick my ass and get it all back.
Right. Yeah. So that was cool, man. But working with Russo, man, on the he's helped me out in a lot of ways, man. I got nothing but praise for Vince, man. He's you know, we started the black and white thing when all of the civil unrest was really going on in this country, or right before a lot of the civil unrest was going on in the country. And we call it black and white because he's a white guy and I'm a black guy.
Right.
But you know, and we went over certain things because I'm going to be very blunt. I'm going to be very open with you, unlike nobody else you could ever meet in your life. And you're going to have to be able to take it and try to understand it. And he was able to do that. And when I talk about subjects, I can't sugarcoat them. For you to learn, and that's when in the show, and that's why it took off, and so many people sent in comments saying, well, I didn't know this, and I learned something, this, that, and the other. That makes me feel good because, you know, you're going to hear things, especially when it comes to race, because when it comes to race, nobody wants to talk about race. Well, if you can't get to a medium by everybody sweeping things up underneath the rug, everybody acts as though I'm this way, I'm that way, I'm this liberal person, I got this open mind, this, that, and the other, until it hits you right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, not so much. Well, that's America. America does not want to look at its indiscretions. We rather sweep them under the rug. That's just how we are as people sometimes, you know. So let's talk about it. Let's be about it. And even Vince was like, brother, I looked at things a lot of things totally different till we started doing this show, man. You helped me out so much. And that's what he said to me. You helped me out so much, man, to look at things totally different. And I'm like, if you can look at things and totally different, if you can look at things without, I'm not gonna say totally different, but with an open mind.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
With an open mind, then there's hope. But as long as your mind is closed and it should be this way and you think it should be this way just because of your very existence, that's a one-way ticket to the kind of fucking civil distress that we've had.
Absolutely.
That we're seeing. A country cannot progress if it's separate. You cannot let religion separate us. You cannot let politics separate us. You cannot let race separate us. Because if it does, it's conquered you. It's more than one way to be conquered. While everybody worried about, back in the day, Russia coming over and taking over, this right here is the most powerful thing known to man. And if you believe it hard enough, it will take over you and you will succumb to it. It's that simple. So as long as people believe in stuff that you know, the government or whoever behind things that are made up for you and you buy into it, they got you, dog. It's pro wrestling 101.
Absolutely.
It's pro wrestling. I'm from the pro wrestling business. So I can see things a little bit more broader. You know what I'm saying? So.
Amen, sir. There is no room for separatism. It's Kenneth Ferguson.
He's right.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that we've tackled over this last year and stuff like that. And, from the coronavirus to presidential debates, so on and so forth. And so on, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey. And when people ask me, I've even had people come on my show and start asking me political stuff. And I'm doing my show. I don't talk about political stuff on my show. And I say, hey, brother, I think you got the wrong show. You're talking about the black and white show. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody was just asking me the other day, what did I think about? What was it? The situation happened in Europe, France, I think, where they were playing a soccer game.
Did you hear about that, Keith?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I heard
of it. And the referee called the guy a black guy or something. They called the guys a black guy. I think the foul was on the black guys.
I think I did hear something like this. It started to percolate in some of the places I look at for news.
Yeah. So somebody hit me because Vince even brought it up on our show this past week. He even brought it up and asked me what did I think about it. And this kid was asking me, sending in comments as I'm doing the show. And I just had to tell myself, first of all, hold up, Don. Wait up. This ain't black and white. If you want to talk about this stuff, go to the Black and White Show. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. But this is Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray. But at the end of the day, I'm an African-American man in the United States of America. Do you really think I give a damn about what those soccer players are going through in Europe? My fight is right here. At the end of the day. So don't ask me about somebody else's fight. Because I ain't seen no Europeans helping me. Helping my people or my ancestors when they were brought over here on boats in 1619. So I leave it at that. So people thought I was really upset. Nah, I was just trying to get the guy off the thing, man. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to get him to stop.
Change the subject.
So I go into that mode to make people think I'm up. I wasn't though. It was just whatever.
They think you're trying to quote Muhammad Ali, but no, it's just go away.
What was that?
They almost think it's like the Muhammad Ali speech that he made about, Vietnam. Like, ain't no Vietnamese man called me the N-word. I got no problem with them. They think you're taking a stand, and you're like, no, I just want them to go away and get off my show. We can talk about fun stuff now.
Right. So, it is what it is. But I guess people watch that show, and they figure that that's the same stuff I do on my show. But it's really not.
And what do you do on your show?
Hey,
in case anybody hasn't seen
what we doing right now?
Talk wrestling.
I have guests on, and we'll start talking about I do a show with Sonny on Tuesday. I do a show with comedian Jimmy Tibbs on Monday. Yeah. And I usually have guests on Wednesday and Thursday. And,
he's every day, Keith. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
No days off.
Me and Jimmy talk about, like this past week, we was talking about a bunch of the black exploitation movies from the 70s, and some of the different lines that that was so funny back those days. We were kids. And that's what we'll do. We'll just start running into things, or we'll take something that's prevalent in the news right now and make fun of it. Or Jimmy's a comedian; he might bring up anything, and like one night. But we're gonna redo this one because something happened to a lot of my shows. We were talking about how the Karens, you know that the definition of the Karen, right?
Yeah.
They call 911 on black people. Okay, we were talking about that one night, and I was like, man, what was the biggest thing for me? Something that just blew my mind. And he was like, what? And we was talking about the guy in New York in Central Park when the lady called the police on him, and she had the dog, and she was choking the dog. Did you guys remember that one?
I do. I remember that.
Well, my thing was to Jimmy was, I said, brother, I'd have been all over the world. But I've never seen a black bird watcher in my life. this dude was a blackbird watcher. I said, maybe that's what pissed her off, man. You what? I mean, and he was like, and she was like, get out of here. And she got, get out of here. And she had that dog and she was choking that dog. Remember, she was choking that dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, brother, the thing that got me is the dog. The look on the dog's face, like he's telling her, please don't do this. You're choking it. I told you not to mess with that blackbird watcher, and she's choking her. And that's what the dog is saying, you know what I'm saying? And then they go home, they get the knock. Yes, who is it? This is the SPCA. We come to get final. Because after that whole thing went viral, they came and took the dog from her.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine what the dog was saying? Like, damn, what can I hide? Let me get let me go get out of the bed. I told that bitch not to fuck with that blackbird watcher. You know. Why can I be adopted by that Armenian gay couple, man? Come on, man. You know, I felt so bad for the dog, man.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve that, bro. He didn't deserve that, man. Come on, man.
Kenny, you're killing me, he says.
He didn't deserve that, man. I'm just trying to be a pooch, man. And you want to start some stuff with this dude, man. Now the authorities are going to put me back in this cage. Well, all the other dogs are going to say, yeah. Look who's back.
Oh, my God.
The great Dame is pissing all in my cage and stuff. Man, come on, man. You don't deserve that, bro. That ain't right.
Oh, my God, man.
Oh, man, we had some fun with that. But that's how I saw it. If that was a cartoon, man. Come on, man. If that was a cartoon and that whole thing played out, would that be gold?
Gold.
Oh, it would.
Gold.
Classic.
You know, because on the cartoons, you can hear the dogs talking. You see them talking.
Right.
Oh, man. I know he was pissed, man. I had a good life till you started messing with a blackbird watcher of all people.
I got one final question for you, Stevie Ray. We're getting close to the hour. Keith and I have been doing this since June. Could you offer us any advice as a fellow host, a fellow podcaster? We're getting our thing going here. We are building an audience, and we just want to have a platform big enough for when local guys come on. Man, they have a huge audience. Could you give us any podcast pointers, so to speak?
You know what, man? Just try to be as genuine as possible. Try to be as genuine as possible, man. And always make it about the guests.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of guys make mistakes that I think.
Yeah.
Every guy, if you're just doing wrestling stuff, every wrestler is different.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, every wrestler doesn't want to talk about the exact same thing.
Right.
Every single solitary show that he goes to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's what you guys really are doing, then what's different about your show that's other than the name?
Right.
What's different? So when I have wrestlers on, like let's say I had Ricky Santana on the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I go through a few little things, just like this, that, and the other. But I'm a little different because I'm from the same business as him. So we can relate to each other and talk to each other a little bit different than guys at your level. But I let them go. Let him tell that story, man. You know what I'm saying? Let him tell.
I think we do.
Huh?
I think we do. I think that's what we do.
Let him tell that story and don't be so generic about it. You know what I'm saying? And take little pieces of that story and ask them about it.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Because that's what professional wrestlers like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But then when guys start to generalize their careers,
right?
Well, I can just speak from my point of view. A lot of things I can't even remember in my career. But I can tell you about things in my career that I like. Right. You know what I'm saying? like when you guys brought up the Sherry thing, and then I give you a whole synopsis on Sherry as it pertains to us, if you see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the fans want to hear, you know, from my point of view. But when you say something like, how was it working with her? I think that's what you guys asked me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be totally different from working with somebody that just got into the business. You know what I'm saying? Let's say it was a female that just got into the business and don't really know the ins and outs and ain't been up and down this road 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? That would be totally different because now you got to hold their hand like they're babies. Well, in essence, Sherry had more experience than me and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So it came out on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So that's when people ask me why it works. You guys understand because she's been in the business longer than we have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Sherry when I was a kid. I'm 45 years old, and I saw matches with her with the Fabulous Moolah, among others. So, I mean, Sherry was always tough to me. Sherry was always tough.
But what I'm saying is that style of character from Sherry, sweetest woman you ever want to meet, from back in those days, relates to the Harlem Heat style. Nobody else couldn't have made that work. As a matter of fact, before we guys leave, I'll give you a story.
Go ahead.
We were going to the office to tell them we didn't want somebody else with us.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted another guy, and we was like, we don't want no guy with us. We don't need someone to talk for us.
Right.
You know.
No, you didn't.
And we don't
need
to be trying to get somebody's buddy that you ain't gotta to keep on the payroll. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's buddy they want to keep on the payroll because they ain't got a spot for him. You see what I'm saying? We just didn't want to be a part of that. And so we were just about to go to the office and tell them, no, we don't want to do that. And we were at a house, not a house show, but a TV taping. And Sherry had just finished doing the angle with Savage and Hogan and all of them. They was doing something with them.
Right.
And we seen her at the show. She was sitting on the ring. And I don't even know if she was working that night or what she was even doing there. When you're on the schedule, you're on the schedule. You just got to be there, whether you're doing something or not. And we always speak to her, hey, Sherry, what's going on? She's like, hey, what's up? She said, I heard they trying to put managers with you guys. And I said, yeah, me and my brother, between us, we're going to go in and tell them we don't want no manager, stuff like that. And she said, well, what if I was your manager? Like, you kidding, right? She's like, no, I'm not kidding. She said, what if I was you guys' manager? And me and my brother looked at each other and like, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So then we went to the office and said, hey, what about her? That's how the whole thing came about.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
That's a great lesson too. And see an opportunity and seize your opportunity. Advocate for yourself.
That's how the whole thing came about.
Man, I want to thank you to the utmost for coming on with us tonight, sharing all these stories. All our fans, the guys that watch, the professional wrestlers got to pick your brain a lot, man. I appreciate that to the utmost. I hope you guys will all go and follow Stevie Ray. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on all the avenues. The Stevie Ray Experience, 953jams.com. Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray. You can find everything. He's out there. He's on every damn night, Keith. I'm not kidding you. He's on every damn night. I'm following him on Facebook, man, and he's on. It's like Stevie Ray Live. Stevie Ray Live. All right, what's he doing now? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I think you're addicted to podcasting, but that's my opinion.
Actually, I had the show on Instagram tonight. I was letting my Instagram followers watch you guys' show so they can pick up on you guys.
What time was that?
I started. It was on before you guys even came on.
That's unbelievable. That's great.
It ran my battery down on my phone, so it cut off about 2-3 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming on so much. Keith, you got any parting words for my man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so honored that you came on here. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan. I've been a fan since I was a kid. You and Book are the greatest tag team I saw in WCW. You're one of the greatest tag teams I've ever seen. I loved your singles run. I thought it was criminal that they built up, like you guys in the NWO, when they made you the leader of the Black and White, and they built that up. And then it seemed like they didn't do anything with it, and they broke you
Hey,
guys
bro.
up. I'm so disappointed.
That's WCW. What can I say?
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta put this up here one more time, Stevie Ray. My mom, that's my mother.
Who's that?
Colleen Bowling, she's my mother. It's a good show, guys. Have a good holiday and be safe, Stevie Ray.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So just to finish up, I mean, thank you for the years you put in, for all the entertainment you gave us, all the bumps,
and continues.
Bruises,
it continues.
And
follow the man.
And I'm so happy.
It's very entertaining.
I'm so happy.
If you guys had a good time tonight, listen to these stories and laughing it up with the man, follow the man. All right. He is very entertaining.
Yeah, now's our chance to give back to him, because now he's living his best life and he's doing what he loves. Now is our chance to give back to him what he gave to us.
I appreciate that, man.
Mad respect, man. Mad respect.
I really do. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And I hope you have a great holiday. And I hope we see each other again and talk to each other again sometime.
Hey, most definitely, bro. You know where I'm at.
I got your number.
Yeah, you know where I'm at, man. Holla.
I got you, man. Thank you.
Right,
yeah. Have a good night.
You too, bro.
So, Keith, one last thing we're gonna say. We're gonna pay our bills. I didn't want to interrupt him at all. He was fantastic. I didn't want to. Yeah, but for everybody watching, thank you for all the comments that came in. Big shout out. I want to give huge shout outs to James Brickhouse, JT Funk, Prince Shango, Rob Noxious, Mark Mest, and the list goes on and on and on. I would be here all night if I mentioned all your names, but every single guest that we have had on this show leading up to tonight, you made this happen as much as we did. And the biggest shout out I want to give out is to Chrissy Richards, because Chrissy Richards made this happen. Okay. Make no mistake about it. Chrissy Richards made this happen. All right. Me and Keith did our thing, but Chrissy Richards, we love you. We hope everybody tunes in to Ciphered Knowledge with Chrissy on Sunday night at 8 p.m., her normal time slot. Me and Keith will be back here tomorrow with Rudy Gonzalez, a promoter from Texas, wrestler extraordinaire, also the father of Tony Batista, which I just found that out. Remember Tony Batista a couple weeks ago from Triple WA? It's his father. So we're going to see Rudy tomorrow at 6 o'clock live. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for all your comments and all your support. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing our thing. Follow Stevie Ray on all the avenues. Stevie Ray, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. We got some last-minute comments, Keith. Chrissy, love you guys. Thank you, Chrissy. TJ, y'all did your thing. Thank you. What about Mom? Always a shout out to Mom. Mom, love you, Mom. Thank you for coming on and thank you for chiming in. So we'll see you. Me and Keith will see you guys tomorrow night, 6 o'clock live. Rudy Gonzalez. This has been Around the Turnbuckle.
One more thing.
Yes.
Some sad news this week.
Yes. We lost Zeus, Tiny Lister. Rest in peace, Tiny Lister. I remember Zeus coming in when I was a kid. Hogan was getting into movies, right? And he started with No Holds Barred. It was a WWE movie, and that's the first time I ever saw Tiny Lister. Zeus, the human wrecking machine, right? And he looked awesome. And I thought to myself, wow, man, if this guy could ever get in the ring with Hogan, it'd be fun. Well, Vince must have thought the same thing. Brought him in a tag match with him and Macho Man versus Hogan and Beefcake at a SummerSlam, I believe it was, 88, 89, around that time. But
I think it would be like the second SummerSlam. So I would probably be 89.
You want to say a few words about Tiny Lister?
Yeah, I mean, most of my experience with him was as an actor. I came into wrestling later. I came in about 92 with Taker, feuding with Warrior. We've told that story a million times. Don't want to hear it again. So I missed a lot of the wrestling part except for the WCW run. He was a hell of an actor. He was great in Friday. I think we all remember Friday if we remember nothing else. I am hearing that this might have been COVID related. So another,
I heard as well. Yes,
Yeah.
Kenneth Ferguson.
So another,
Big shout out to Kenneth for chiming in all night long. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, AJ Zeus.
Yeah,
Zeus was the man.
Just another example of fuck you 2020.
Yeah,
it really is. Fuck you COVID and fuck you 2020.
Our hearts go out to the family of Tiny Lister and any fans and stuff like that. As usual, we always pay respects when we lose somebody in the wrestling business, and I love that we do that, Keith. And I love tonight was a great night. How did you feel about it?
I loved it. I mean, they talk about don't meet your heroes, don't meet people you respect, and I mean that this was fun. I wish I could go back in time and do it again, but also go back and tell that little kid that's sitting in front of a TV all those weeks, watching WCW and watching Harlem Heat, like, hey, you're gonna meet Stevie Ray one day. You're gonna get to talk to Stevie Ray one day, and he's gonna be awesome.
It's just the beginning, Keith, because if I have anything to do with it, one day, someday, you and I are going to sit down with the dead man. And that's my goal, as long as I live and breathe.
I'm going to freeze up on that.
And with that, we'll see you next time on Around the Turnbuckle, boys and girls.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you gonna do, brother? Oh, yeah! Woo!